Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? You're back. Welcome back to Game Recognized Game TGIF edition. We got a special guest today.
Very
Somebody
special.
very special to me and Ty. We spent the year up at Syracuse, New York. Very cold, snowed in, still having to go to games. I still remember my first basketball game. I'll tell this quick story. I still remember my first basketball game. Not my first one, but I still remember like the first time we seen real snow up there that year. And I don't know if Mike I called you or I texted you, but I was like, "Hey, really hard. Are we still having the game?" And you were like, "Oh yeah, nothing cancels up here."
Nothing cancels a basketball game in Syracuse.
Yeah. And so I just remember that being like my welcome to Syracuse moment. Like it wasn't the first game I'd covered. It was just like the first time we had seen real snow. And it's like late November, early December or something like that. And I was like, oh man, this isn't good. This
I
isn't
have
gonna
a
work.
funny weather story actually regarding involving Syracuse basketball.
Go
So
ahead.
everyone knows back in 2003 they won the national championship, right? Carmelo Anthony, that whole team. Well, there was actually a huge ice storm in Syracuse that knocked out a bunch of power lines, and like a lot of people couldn't watch the game in their homes.
The
So
national championship?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
I know they
That
were
was
tight.
it was a crazy situation. I was in college. I was out in Rochester, so it didn't affect where I was, and it didn't affect my family. Like they were able to watch, except for my dad, who he was doing a sleep study that night, and they had him trying to go to sleep while the national championship was going on, and he couldn't watch.
That ain't happening. That ain't
Yeah,
happening.
You're not.
that wouldn't work. For Syracuse, one and only like championship. No.
Like,
Yeah, no.
Nonetheless, though, this is Mike McAllister, one of the voices of Syracuse sports. Really, I mean, a great guy, a great connect to have in the business. And you know, he said he doesn't like to brag on himself, but he kind of runs the 247 Sports edition or the Syracuse edition of 247 Sports, which is where me and Ty got great experience last year. I went to the Legends Classic in Brooklyn. I went to the NFL draft. What was the last thing I did? I think it was Final Four college lacrosse at Gillette, right? Like, so I did a
He
few.
was all over.
Oh yeah, nah. I even asked him to send me to the draft, and he was like gonna do it. And then I realized it was too late into the school year, and I was like, nah. If I go to the draft, like I might fail. And then the whole point of coming up here would have been for nothing anyway.
That would have hurt.
Yeah, that would have hurt. Like, so I like asked him to do it, and he was like, sure, I got you. You know, I got you. And then I couldn't do it anyway. Nonetheless, let's get to Syracuse sports. I know you only got a few minutes, so let's get to it. I want to start with football. We don't have to, but we should just get it out the way, and then we
All
can move
right.
to the fun.
yeah, rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. Started out as an interesting season. It started out decent. We went up to Clemson. We won against what we would later learn to be a not so good Clemson team, but nonetheless we beat Clemson in Death Valley. But that was also where it kind of went downhill. So you know, as you look back on the season in its totality, not only as a fan but as an analyst and a journalist, you know, what did you learn from this season? And I would say more so, what did you learn from Fran Brown this season that kind of gives you hope going forward?
Well, first, injuries in sports suck, right? They're awful, and it feels like one injury derailed what could have been a really solid season. Now, I don't know. I don't think even if they had perfect health that they were going to go 10-3 again like they did the year before. But part of that was schedule driven, because anytime you got to play at Notre Dame, at Miami, at Clemson. I mean, I know they won the Clemson game, but even still, then you had at SMU, which was, you know, in the mix for the ACC championship game for a while. Georgia Tech, who was ranked in the top 15 most of the season, they had to play on the road there. You had Bill Belichick coming to your house. I know North Carolina wasn't very good, but even still, Duke, who made the ACC championship game, you had to play them. And oh, by the way, you opened the season with Tennessee, who was a playoff team the year prior. So it was a very, very difficult schedule, one of the most difficult in the country. And yet they started 3-1. It was the first time they had won at Clemson. They were leading the nation in passing again. And then once he went down, the guy they thought they had to replace him, Ricky Collins, just wasn't what they thought he could be. And it just sort of snowballed on him. I think ultimately, when you look back on it, the hope is that this was a year of transition, which that was kind of the thought going in. You just hope that you could do that while going to a bowl game at least.
Yeah.
But they played so many young players, and it kind of got to a point, given the limitations of what they had at the quarterback position, they just couldn't find someone to sustain offense. I think they broke 20 points maybe once during the last 8 games. They were just bad offensively. And they just started playing a lot of freshmen and, trying to get them experience for next year. So your hope is that it's a year of transition, that you bounce back, have a strong 2026, and that's a blip on the radar. But what I learned about Fran Brown is, one, I think he does a good job of self-reflecting and saying, here are some areas where we haven't been good. And part of that is the approach from me as the head coach. You got to remember that was only his second year as a head coach. So he's still learning and developing just like players. And so you can see with some of the changes they made in the coaching staff and I think with what they'll do in the transfer portal, he's identifying things from a coaching perspective and from a roster construction perspective to try to fix some of the issues that they had this past year. But then also, he gets the highest rated recruiting class that they've had in the last 25 years during a season when they went 3-9, losing 8 games in a row, when they weren't competitive really in any of those 8 games, including losing at home in the regular season finale to a 1-10 at the time Boston College team that was a bad team. You do all of that, and you're still able to sign a 5-star wide receiver, multiple 4-star players on both sides of the ball, and have your highest rated recruiting class in program history. That says a lot about who Fran Brown is. And then on top of that, he gets one of the most coveted defensive coordinators during the coaching carousel to come join his program and try to fix the defense. I think it says a lot about who he is in terms of a recruiter, and that there's still a lot of people buying into the way he's running the program.
I think that's great. I have this thought that Fran Brown is a proactive guy, and I've spoken on this a few times before. But I think one of the ways that we found out, or that we would later learn that he was a proactive guy, was him bringing in Steve Angeli. I think had a lot to do with Steve Angeli's talent, but I think it also probably had a lot to do with Ricky Collins, where he thought Ricky Collins was in his development at the time that he brought Steve Angeli in. And I've always had this wonder if the quarterback battle that we thought was a quarterback battle in the summer, was it quite the quarterback battle that we kind of made it out to be when everybody was up there in the summertime and everybody was like, yeah, we got a great quarterback battle on our hands. I always wonder, was it actually a quarterback battle, or did we bring in one guy, think he was a lot further along? And not to say that he won't get there. I think he'll be a really good quarterback, maybe next year after Angeli leaves again. But I don't know if he was quite where we thought he was. And I wonder, was that battle really a battle? Do you know?
So there's a couple of things. One, that's kind of been a conspiracy theory that's been often discussed kind of after the first couple of games that we saw Ricky. Now, the one thing I'll say is there was actually a point during the second game of the season against UConn. So coming off of the loss to Tennessee, Angeli kind of had some up and downs. There were some moments when he didn't look like, he had command of the team and the offense. And there were moments where he looked really comfortable and good, but he still had 3 or 4 turnovers in that game. Mm-hmm. And then you start off the UConn game and UConn is winning the entire game. He turned it over a couple of more times. He just did not look good at all. And the fans were clamoring for Ricky Collins at that point.
Right.
Obviously, without knowing, what Ricky Collins would be. But it's just funny how, some of those things always work out. That said, some players are better in practice than they are in games. Mm-hmm. And you have a guy like a Ricky Collins, and since he hasn't played organized football in, 3 years, 3 years, whatever it is, the last time he was in high school, because he sat on the bench at LSU, never played anything meaningful. So you never know how guys are going to react when they finally get in there. He could go through practice and makes all the right reads and makes good throws. And I think you saw flashes of his arm talent. He's got a really strong arm. And I think there's times when he showed good accuracy, but it was really a processing, decision-making. Is he seeing things correctly? That got him into trouble, especially with turnovers. And then other things like feel for when the pass rush is coming. And some people have that and some don't. And sometimes you can't really see that in practice. So he could go through practice and look good, and you see all of the raw arm talent and everything else, and you think that things are close. But then when you see what he is on the field in a live game, he could need more experience and more reps in order to kind of develop. Everyone develops differently. So my guess is it probably wasn't quite as close as what it was made out to be, but I'm not sure it was as large of a gap as it would appear when you just looked at the play of Angeli versus the play of Ricky Collins.
Good. I think I'm gonna. I had one about the. I'm looking at my time, and I know my time is short, so I had one more about football, but I'll
go for it.
Okay. All right. The feeling when our 5-star decided to push back his signing day, everybody was obviously up in flames. Everybody had their own conspiracy theory. I'll tell you, mine is that he's a South Florida guy, and my favorite team is Ohio State. I'm from Ohio. The wide receivers coach, the legendary wide receivers coach, had obviously taken the job at USF. I had a fear that he was making calls and getting a lot of people to push back their signing days, because Calvin wasn't the only one that pushed back his signing day as a wide receiver. I had a fear that there was something going on there. Eventually, though, he signs. But I know everybody was up in flames. What was the feeling there? Did you ever get any more info on what kind of happened and what led to? I know our closer went down there and kind of closed the deal. But did you ever get kind of like what happened there, or whatever the feeling may have been at that time?
Well, I can tell you what I know. Now, there's a lot of rumors out there, et cetera, when that was going on. First of all, when he announced that he wasn't signing that day, and then while he was on Instagram Live, flashed the U sign for Miami, I think basically everyone that was a Syracuse fan said he's not coming. And I said, just relax. The kid grew up in Miami. He grew up a Miami fan. Almost his entire family went to Miami. He has several close friends on the Miami team. So even though he had committed to Syracuse, and I still thought was going to sign with Syracuse, doesn't mean he's all of a sudden going to hate Miami. Like, he has a lot of close ties there. I think about, like you said, you're an Ohio State fan, right? But you went to Syracuse. Does that all of a sudden mean that you're no longer an Ohio State fan? No, it doesn't mean that. I know there's a guy up here that I did the football pregame shows with, who is my host. His name is Giovanni Heater. He went to Virginia Tech for school to get his broadcasting degree. But he grew up in Central New York. He grew up a Syracuse fan. And so while he has, an affinity for his alma mater at Virginia Tech, he's still a Syracuse guy. So that doesn't go away. He's always going to have a certain feeling for Miami because of all of those ties. So the fact that he flashed the U didn't really faze me, but I do know that most of the fan base thought that there was no chance at that point he was coming. The funny thing is, immediately, all of the narratives from national recruiting analysts at basically every network was that it was Miami and Michigan had both called him Tuesday night, the day before National Signing Day, and basically got him to reconsider things, and that they were pushing for a flip. And yet the people that I spoke to, including one of the guys that runs the Miami site on 247 Sports, said neither Miami nor Michigan are involved whatsoever. That they had their eyes on other players. Miami signed several high-profile wide receivers in the class. They weren't taking another one. And Michigan was trying to flip a couple of other guys, and I believe they were successful, at least with one of them. Mm-hmm. So they weren't really involved. What I had heard was that it was Lane Kiffin at LSU
Wow.
trying to make a splash. He had offered Calvin Russell at Ole Miss, but hadn't really actively recruited him, especially over the last several months. So it was a bit curious when I heard that, because I'm like, if Calvin Russell actually values relationships in any way,
Yeah.
how do you go from the guy was one of your first offers, that has been recruiting you for multiple years, has a good relationship with your family, you trust him as someone who's going to develop you as a person off the field as well, and then all of a sudden this guy comes in who just abandoned his team right before a playoff run that didn't really recruit you before, and now all of a sudden is trying to do it just so that he can get a headline. So it didn't make that would have been disappointing, I think, if he had ended up falling for that.
But also kind of would have told you something as far as like, well,
yeah,
if that's the case, we're okay anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the other school I had heard was that Florida was also trying to do something similar with a new coach, trying to make a splash. I had heard very small rumblings about USF potentially trying to make a big splash themselves, but I didn't hear anything concrete enough that I could say, yep, they were definitely one of the schools involved. Yeah, but either way,
I thought Heartline might try, but
it wouldn't hurt to try. I mean, I wouldn't blame them for trying, right? But so then Thursday night, Wednesday night, I was contacting sources, trying to figure out exactly what was going on, and Syracuse still felt pretty good. It sounded like from what I was able to gather, that they were still going to ultimately sign him. And then I heard real late before I went to bed on Wednesday that Russell was planning on signing with Syracuse on Thursday. And so even though I think they went off of his agent's statement, which said by Friday, most were expecting a decision on Friday. And then Thursday, like late afternoon into the early evening, he started posting Instagram stories that had him in some venue with a whole bunch of pictures of him in a Syracuse jersey, and it said Cuse Boys, and it had him and Tadarius Hughes, who were teammates, both who signed with Syracuse. And there was a table with a stack of papers on it and a pen, and it very much looked like a signing ceremony. And then shortly after that, it was announced that he had officially signed. So that's kind of everything from my perspective on that whole thing.
Cool. All right. I told you it would get better as we went. All right. I got two more. No, we're short. Syracuse basketball. Obviously me and Ty and I both worked Syracuse basketball, which means we were there for the highs and the lows of last season, which means we all know
a lot of lows
last year.
A lot of lows, which means we all know, and it's no secret, that Red is on the hot seat. I think what was most interesting is that Cayenne, after the Tennessee win, is as amped up and hyped up as he was for being a freshman and being a part of that win. He grabbed the mic and he not at the time, not outside of the locker room, but in the locker room. I think Katie from one of the news stations posted it. The video where he basically was in the locker room and he said, "We know Red is on the hot seat, but we love Red and we're playing for Red." I thought it was interesting to hear that from a player, especially a freshman. But what are you kind of gauging, and what do you think is what needs to happen for Red to kind of save his job this year, especially with the roster that he is currently constructed, what we all believe to be 10, 20, 30 times better than last year's roster. So what have you kind of heard? What is kind of the bar this year? What needs to happen, if you know?
If they make the NCAA tournament, he's safe for sure. The athletic director said, I think during the off season, that the bar is they need to be playing meaningful games in March. And the problem with a statement like that is it's very gray. And that could mean a lot of things to a lot of people. I could ask each of you what that means. Some of you might say you're on the bubble, whether you make it or not. Those are meaningful games in March because you're playing for a spot in the NCAA tournament.
Which, in fairness, we did that last year. We did that last year. We played meaningful games that kind of were like, I think that game at SMU, the one that we lost, or the right before it, that last stint road trip was kind of like meaningful games, right? Which means you could say that that's meaningful basketball is what is my point here. So
You
what,
could say every game is meaningful basketball.
Yeah,
It really depends on how you. I
I
can
think
say it's a
standard
great
to that is
statement.
different.
That's Ty. That's exactly the next point I was going to make is as long as you make the ACC tournament, you're playing games that could potentially get you to the NCAA tournament. So is that considered meaningful games in March? If you make the NCAA tournament, those are meaningful games. You're good. So that's, I think, what most are kind of expecting is that Syracuse gets back into the NCAA tournament, everything's good. And to your point about Kiyan saying that they're playing for red, they posted something on their official Instagram account, and they do this after every game. I don't know if it's after every game or just after wins, but they have something that they call the fighter of the game, and they give them kind of like a WWE belt. And it's like someone who gave extra effort during the game and kind of recognizing that. And when they were doing that for the Tennessee game, Red stood up, he's in front of his team in the locker room, and he said the fighter of the game is, and someone came in off camera, a staffer, and said, hold up, it's you. And they gave him the belt, and the whole team jumped on him and started jumping up and down, screaming and whatever else. And so you can say what you want about Red, and I'm not saying he's a perfect coach, but also the same thing that I said with Fran. Fran is 2 years into his head coaching career. Red is in year 3 of his head coaching career. So, if he was coaching, if Boeheim was in year 3 of his coaching career with everything that's different now than it was when he started his coaching career with NIL and transfer portal, etc., would he have started the same way that he did back then? You'd like to think that given how his career went that, it still would have turned out okay. But the point is coaches develop too. And so I've always thought, you give him a better roster than what they had last year, and let's see what he can do. It's been good so far this season. I think they're one of the best defensive teams in the country, and they still have some issues offensively. They're a terrible free throw shooting team, but they're a team that can beat just about anybody that they play when they are engaged on the defensive end of the floor. We saw that against Houston. But the fact that they were basically not being horrific from the free throw line away from beating Houston, who many think might be the best team in the country. They were competitive with Kansas right down to the end of the game. They played with Iowa State for a half, and I think just really ran out of gas as much as anything else in that second half, and then beat Tennessee. And they're doing it all without the guy who everyone thinks is their best player in Donnie Freeman. That tells you that they built this roster much better than what they had in the past couple of years. It tells you that they're all playing together. They're playing for their head coach. And so I still, again, I don't know exactly where the bar is, where he comes back versus he doesn't. But if they keep playing the way that they have been, I think they'll be in the NCAA tournament, and then everything's good.
Do you think that will Red? Do you think? Oh, I can say it, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my question to you is: do you feel as though the university, due to seeing how the relationship that Red has with his players, seeing it's a good relationship in the locker room, that with this being his 3rd season coaching, that hypothetically, even if he was to come up short by a few games of the tournament or whatever the case may be, do you feel as though the university should, give him a bit of grace and give him maybe like an extra year or two, considering that he's on the hot seat?
I could see that scenario playing out where they play well, they have a good season, and for whatever reason, the metrics don't work out and the NCAA tournament committee doesn't put him in. But they were a team that was at least on the bubble and were in the discussion. Would that meet the metric of the bar of meaningful games in March? I think given how much improvement there would have been from the year before, given some of those things that you said with how the players connect with him, and especially seeing he's a totally different person on the sideline this year than he was last year. Last year, he was very passive and just kind of sat on the sideline, and you didn't see a lot of interaction and engagement from him during games. You see that every game. He's animated. He's walking around. He's yelling at players, yelling at officials, and any coach that yells at officials, I appreciate personally. So I love that. But Yeah, he's been much different. So I think he's still learning and figuring things out himself. And I could definitely see a scenario where they don't make the NCAA tournament and the university elects to bring him back for some of those reasons that you mentioned.
All right, Mike, last one. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to, how much, being that Boeheim basically picked him as his successor, how much do you think that plays the role in them wanting them to be successful a little bit quicker? Like, we understand that he's a first-time head coach. He's in his third year. But how much does Boeheim having the reputation he has, being this amazing coach, although his last few years they weren't great, but it's like he's built the program for what it was, and he picked you. So how much does that play into kind of the talks of how long he gets to keep his job and stuff like that?
That's why a lot of fans are impatient, because part of it is a product of your own success, right? When you're good every year for almost 50 years, top 25 teams, NCAA tournaments, Final Four runs, and a national championship, then the expectation is that you're going to be that year in, year out. You're going to be a team that's going to be ranked most of the time. You're going to be in the tournament almost every year. And that's what the expectation is, and that you've got the ability to make runs in the NCAA tournament. And so I think that's where some of the impatience and some of the, fired up comments, emotional comments that you get, especially after a year like last year. Syracuse hasn't been in the NCAA tournament for several years. Sometimes I think fans forget that the first few years of that streak were not Red Autry. They were Jim Boeheim, as you mentioned. The last few years weren't great. And sometimes I think that all gets put on Red, and a little bit unfairly. But, when you're at a program like Syracuse, you have certain standards. And so if you see improvement, you see things heading in the right direction, I think you can sort of be a little bit patient with that. But there comes a point where you got to start getting to the place that the fans expect you to be.
All right, quickly. This is an NFC East panel of sorts, except for B, who's a Green Bay fan. I don't know if you know, Ty's a Commanders fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. We know that it's very well documented that you're an Eagles fan. Your Eagles are hanging on by a thread right now. Are you worried? Are you not worried? And why?
I've been worried since like week 2. It's giving me so many vibes from 2023, right? When they started that year like 10-1, and I was ringing the bell well before that, even though they beat Buffalo in overtime, and that got them to 10-1, I believe, and they didn't win a game the rest of the year. And even though I was pumped that they won the game, obviously, and had the best record in football, I was like, this is not a good football team. There were too many things. You look at like where they were ranked statistically from a total defense and total offense perspective, and they were just near the bottom of the league in both. And I'm like, teams don't keep winning games that way. And eventually it caught up to them. The difference this year is that the defense is still one of the best in football. They're really good. They've won them multiple games against really good teams. But if they can't figure things out offensively, and it doesn't have to mean figuring things out like long term, but if you just get hot at the right time, we've seen teams go on runs that have much less at their disposal than what this Eagles team does. The good thing for the Eagles is that their schedule down the stretch of the season is pretty favorable. You've got a get-right game against the Raiders. And you know what? If you can't beat the Raiders at home this late in the season, when they're going to their backup quarterback, when none of their quarterbacks are good, you don't deserve to win the division and make the playoffs. That's period. But assuming you can sort of correct some things, win that game, then in your last 3, you've got at Buffalo as one of your games, but then you've got the Commanders twice. If the Commanders were whole, I think that's a really tough spot. They always play well against the Eagles, and they gave them as much trouble last year as any team in football did when the Eagles were fully healthy. So I could see that being tough, but the Commanders have had a ton of injury issues, and they're just not close to what they were last year. They're going to be motivated to try to knock Philly out, so it's still going to be tough. It's a divisional game, but it's about as favorable as you can hope for the stretch run. So you got to win this game. If you split with the Commanders and Dallas loses one of the rest of their games, you're in. So you got to figure it out, just get in, and then hope things click once you get to the playoffs. But am I concerned? Yeah, I've been petrified for several weeks. It's crazy. You go from 8-2 up by 3 touchdowns at Dallas, and basically that would have cemented everything. Dallas' season would have been done. You're in the clear with the division. And from there, you don't score for 42 minutes of action against the Cowboys, and you lose the game. And then you've lost 2 games since, albeit against good teams, but where your offense continues to look bad. So
do you feel as though the personnel for our team is like, so I always say, you know how y'all always have a top offensive line. We know Lane Johnson, he's been hurt for a few weeks. I have arguably the best running back in football, and y'all have arguably the best receiver duo in football. Do you feel as though with all the weapons that y'all have on the offense, the personnel needed for your quarterback, it tends to sometimes be overwhelming, whereas though it kind of makes coaching and play calling a little bit more stressful and harder than it needs to be?
So I think the issues offensively are 2 things. One, their offensive line with the injury you mentioned to Lane Johnson. They've also had multiple injuries at guard, and the interior guys have not been healthy. And they did a poor job replacing Mekhi Becton. So he was a huge part of how good that offensive line was, especially running the football last year. And so losing him was a huge detriment, and they haven't figured that out. So the offensive line is not nearly what it was last year. That said, I think the biggest issue is the scheme and the play calling from the offensive coordinator. If you look at the last 4 years of the Eagles, they've been really good offensively in 2022 when they had an established play calling offensive coordinator, and 2024 when they had an established play calling offensive coordinator. 2023 and 2025, the offenses were not good when they had first-time offensive coordinator play callers who were buddies of the head coach that didn't have the resume that warranted being an offensive coordinator in the National Football League. So they got to get out of that habit and get someone who is a more established veteran play caller and, this offseason, in my opinion. And I think if they do that, then the offense, because they do have good personnel in a lot of spots, and if they can shore up some spots in the offensive line and get a little bit younger in a couple of spots there, then I'm hopeful that they'll have a much better 2026.
All right. We appreciate you. I know we've flown over time at this point, but I definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate you taking all of our questions, man. I'll be sure to stay in contact. I definitely appreciate everything. I know Ty and I appreciate everything you've done for us. Appreciate you helping my boy out up there now. That's a great program that you guys are running up in Syracuse. So, and it gets tough up there in the wintertime. without that work, I don't know what we would have done without that work. So I definitely appreciate it. Definitely gets people out of the house, gets people going, because hey man, it gets dark and it's cold and it snows. Nonetheless, like I said, we appreciate you, and I definitely appreciate you for coming on such short notice. But we'll let you go now. I know it's Friday. I know you got the family to tend to. So thank you again, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
You for your time. Mike has answering some questions. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right.
Bet. All right. If you're here, if you were late, you can run it back and go finish that. All right, guys, let's do what we do. Sorry about that. Of course, we got to get our Syracuse content in for the, you know what I'm saying, for the Syracuse supporters. Because this is a Syracuse podcast, a podcast that started at Syracuse. Yeah, where did he go? He had been down. My fault, bro. I switched screens. I came back. I'm like, yo, did Ty just disappear again? Like, what happened? There was something that we didn't get to the other night. We're gonna go straight to NBA because we've talked a lot of football, and we just talked some NFL. So we're gonna go straight to NBA. I don't know. B, was it you or Ryan that sent the bet in the chat the other day? I don't remember, but I think that was Ryan. That was Ryan? Okay.
Yeah.
There's this conversation that frankly I didn't know was really a conversation. until he sent it, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is real. I think by now, I think at the time they were like 22-1. I think by now they're like 24-1. The Oklahoma City Thunder are giving everybody in the league work, which I think we all knew. I don't think, I think because it's so quiet, and frankly, I hate to say this, it doesn't feel quite as fun as when that other team did it.
It's not
some
because of how they doing it.
Yeah, because
It's
of
the
how
way
they're
they doing
doing it. It's the way they doing it. It's the team. It's the whole, like, I think everybody's just kind of like, hey, listen, we know how good they are. We're just kind of done talking about them.
That in Golden State was different. That was like offensive show, energetic, all of that. This team, a bunch of young guys that love playing defense, and they just taking the energy and the life out of everybody they play. It's bad.
And so there's a part 2 to this question, because I was having this argument the other day about Shai being a 2 or a 1. And listen, I get to everybody's point that he's a 2, but he's a 1. He's now a 1. When you talk about him in the grand scheme and you have the top 5 conversations and all of that good stuff, Shai will not go down for what he did or what position he played at Kentucky, nor the position that he played with the Clippers. He will go down and be remembered for the greatness that he had in Oklahoma City Thunder. And here's the difference. I know what a lot of people are going to bring up. You're probably going to bring up James Harden, Todd. That's probably why you looked at me crazy.
That's
when
exactly
I said
No. I was like, who's considering Shai a 2?
well, he's played the 2 his whole life. He wasn't a 1.
I understand, but I'm saying, like, right now, today.
Yeah, no,
he
I don't
made
know.
He made the transition like James did.
Well, so this was the point that I made to somebody else, to one of the homies. I said, Shai is a 2 playing or cosplaying as a 1. I understand that. The problem is, the real difference is when you bring up the James Harden conversation, they actively try to bring in true point guards in James Harden's prime as a 2 or as a 1, whatever you want to call it. They still bring in Chris Paul. They still bring in Russell Westbrook in James Harden's prime. Until Oklahoma City decides we're bringing in a true point, whether it's on the back end of their career. I mean, we're talking about arguably 2 top 10 all-time point guards. Whether they were on the back end of their careers or the front end, it doesn't matter. They still bring them in to be true point guards at that time, which is why we can still consider James Harden a 2. On the other hand, I don't give a damn who they bring in as far as Cason Wallace to run the second unit, or when Jalen gets hurt and they decide to bring in, you know what I'm saying, Cason Wallace to start, and so Shai then moves to the 2. I don't care about none of that. Shai is a 1. Nonetheless, going back to it, they are 24-1. What is the likelihood that they not only beat the Chicago Bulls record, but now it's as we all know, it's the Golden State's record. What is the likelihood that they beat this record, guys?
You can go ahead, Todd.
I think it's actually very likely at this point. They were running through teams without their second best player. I think that's the biggest. If you want to look to anything, like, I think playing, starting off the season off playing the first 20 games without your second best player and you're 19-1, that says a lot about the kind of roster that's been built, the structure of the way they play that's been built, and just their identity as a team. Like, we know when you play OKC, they're going to play defense and they're gonna try and run you out the gym. And if Shai's on the court, he's the engine. Like, he's the engine on the offense side of the ball. And if he get going, they're a hard team to stop. You can't check Shai and then worry about everybody else, because now you're forgetting about players. They hitting shots, Shai hitting shots. Now you're frustrated. And then on the other side of the court, they in your face, they're in your grill. You're not getting calls. Now you look up to the scoreboard, you're down 20. Like, that's how they do it. And it's like, I won't lie. In the beginning of the year, I thought they were at least have some sort of slump without J-Dub. And the fact of the matter is, I would expect teams want to play better against the champs. Like, you can only really tell how far you are if you can beat the champs. And ain't nobody beat them yet. So I just feel like at this point, it's like, who's really in competition with the Thunder? I just feel like They just can't lose 8 more games. Like at this rate, we 25 in. Like the math says that they're gonna beat the record, but we're gonna see.
B.
Believe it or not, I think they have a great chance of beating the record. Yes. But a big side of me also feels as though the fatigue after the All-Star break might tend to get to them due to the fact that when you look at who they've played so far this season, not saying they haven't played anybody, like they've played some teams. We see what they have done to a few of the good teams, but their second half of the schedule towards the end of the season is like among the top of the league for strength of schedule. They play all of the top teams that we know. We see how the Pistons are now. They got to have them a few times. They're going to have the Lakers. They're going to have all those top teams. And I just feel as though basketball is always a thing of momentum. So after the All-Star break, some of the teams that tended to start slow and not be the teams that we expect them to be or what their identity is, they might turn it up a little bit. And then the OKC team, they might tend to go back a little bit. But we just have to see, though, because their best guys, they are not playing fourth quarters a lot. So they're kind of staying fresh. So the fatigue may not come. So, but if it doesn't come, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm expecting it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it don't come. I ain't gonna lie to you. These boys young and turnt, man. These boy the definition of young and turnt. You got to change your whole tone when you talking about him. You can't talk like you got a degree. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta talk like you talking to the homie. Like these boys young and turnt, man. You know what I'm talking about? Like them boys,
they want it.
You know what I'm saying? Them boys lit. Listen, it's almost corny how young and turnt they are. I'm not gonna lie to you. You see a video of them. You see like, you know what I'm saying? You see like you see Shea like dancing and whatever he doing pregame. You see all of the stuff and you just get annoyed a little bit. Like,
you know why you get annoyed though, Cole?
Because they so good.
You get annoyed. We all get annoyed at the fact of throughout our entire lives and basketball history, we always say give young players time to get into themselves. When we're seeing this team, that's not the case. It's just a simple fact that guys want to play defense and do the little things, and it all comes together.
Which is so great because you know what I think most people forget. I think most people forget how old Shea actually is himself. Like he's not that old, but in the grand scheme of things, Shea is not that. I don't want to say not that young because he's still in his 20s.
I think he's the second oldest guy on the team.
Yeah, he's the second oldest guy on the team at like 26 or 27 or something like that. I believe it is. But I think people forget that he's not like 22 as well. I think people have this like weird conception that he's like, you know.
That's what happens when you're in the league since you're 18.
Yeah, well, that also though, I think people forget like how long he's actually been in the league. He's been here for a minute, kind of, and it's kind of funny in the way that like these European players have done that. If you go back to Jokic, baby Jokic was a baby when he got in the league. It took him some time to really develop. I think there's a thing about not just European players, but players from other countries in general where they are young. They come to the league very young, and they have a lot of skills, but it takes them a second to develop. Shea did it. Giannis, if you think about Giannis, like young Giannis was low key, like kind of, he was not the Giannis of today. He was not.
We all see the same. We all see the same thing. We all see the match potential, but I've came to the conclusion that it just simply has to be due to college coaching, something that they aren't getting, and our players tend to be ready. Like you see how certain universities breed NBA talent, like Duke and Kentucky. It was due to the coaching that they had, so they were already getting trained and being taught how to be NBA ready. So they were ready day one. Versus the international guys is different.
It's also the style of play, I would say, is probably bigger than the coaching, because I believe that the coaching over there is really good. I think it's really good coaching for their style of play, though, because they all play that European basketball is just totally different. It's a totally different brand of basketball than we play here, which means when you get here, You have to play a little different. You have to find a way to mesh your skill set with the way that an NBA coach would want you to play. And once they figure it out, they're damn near unstoppable. It just takes them, you know what I'm saying, a second to figure it out. Shea, the same thing. But they're so good. I think they break the record. I think they break the record.
This might yeah, I'm not gonna say might. Yeah, I'm gonna say it because when you just ignore the names, the big names from the Warriors, this is the best team I've actually got to sit and watch as far as a complete basketball team and see how everything goes, for sure.
They're the definition of everybody playing their role and being superstars at their role. They know who their scorer is. They know that there are a few other guys that can go and get a bucket, but let's find a way to get it back in the hands of our guy. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, we're going to knock down our shots. And I think that was kind of one of the differences, you know what I'm saying, in this team that you see and some of those Houston teams. Like at their peak, they were elite regular season shooters. It just came, you know, when it was time to turn it on, the lights got too bright come playoff time. Like they couldn't knock down a shot. They couldn't throw a penny in the water.
I think that's the difference.
That's the real.
I think that's the difference when their shots not even when the shots not falling. Like a real basketball team, like a real good basketball team is supposed to do, you adjust. You don't just sit there and continue to shoot a million threes and shoot yourself out the game.
Yeah, they gonna get. Hey, I'm gonna get to the rim. I'm gonna pull that mid range. I'm gonna get to the. You know what I'm saying? They really
your best player. That's what he do. Like Shaw not taking a lot of threes. Like he shoot them, but you know where majority of his buckets coming from, that mid range, and he's getting to the free throw line. So when your best player has those abilities, the rest of the team gonna follow suit. Like, man, I see him. I'm out to do the same thing. Go ahead, get me in this paint too. Like, and it, like you said,
the whole league.
Because they so young, they play off each other, and like nobody has an ego right now. There's no egos on that Thunder team. We all hooping, we all winning, and we all happy. I think that's one of the few teams in the league that you can say like their team chemistry is probably 100. Like, there's no issues.
Nah, ain't no problem. It's 100 for sure.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I had to touch on that because I was kind of blown away when I saw it. That was like a, you know what I'm saying, a real life conversation.
What's your record prediction?
What is the record? It's like 73-9 or something like that, right? 73-9.
Yeah, 73-9 Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, one loss right now. I think we're in the game 28 or something like that.
Yeah,
so we're at third through.
They played 25. They're 24-1. So if you go at this rate, they lose a game every 25 games or so.
Let's say they pick it up and maybe have a bad week where they lose 2, maybe 3.
I'll go 5 sounds low because after that break, you're gonna have to. I do believe there is a thing to be said for after the break. I just don't think it'll hit them the way that like you kind of expect it to. I
think it's more so going to be other teams picking it up.
Yeah. Which means I'll give it max 7 losses. Minimum. No, max 8, minimum 5.
I
think they can catch 4 somewhere because they might catch a bad week of like 2.
I was gonna get them. I was gonna go get them 74-8. That's what their record would be.
I'm looking at
73-9. The only reason I say that because, like you say, I do think after All-Star break they might have a slow start getting back. That's not saying they still not gonna be dominant, but like they might not look like what we see them right now. They'll lose a few. I just don't know. I think it's hard to say. I think when we get close to the end of the year,
yeah. If y'all look at that schedule setup,
it's gonna be a lot more rest, a lot more. Because like at this point,
it's hard to sustain. It's hard. It's just hard to sustain for a full. For
sure.
They're like
looking at their schedule, especially on top of what you just said, Cole. I feel as though they might lose probably about 2 out of the last 5 just due to saying we're going to sit our guys because they probably already going to have the first seed clinched by at that point. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, looking at the schedule, the second half schedule is looking ridiculous. And I think other guys are going to start to play with some meaning. Like, we're tired of losing to these guys getting around for gym. Like,
oh, you see it could be more losses. Like you see,
I'm thinking
they might
the
not be great.
the teams that I see that they play. I feel as though those teams they're gonna come and be like, yeah, okay, they're not as much better than us to be beating us by 30 and 40. We're tired of
Is it
losing to
West
these
heavy?
guys like this.
It's West heavy.
Very, very West heavy.
Yeah.
Minnesota, LA.
Well,
Then
see
they got
that
Denver a lot.
really that Minnesota thing don't move me. It's gonna be Denver. It's gonna be LA. Minnesota don't move me because
They got Boston 2 times in 2 weeks when Tatum back.
No, that don't
If he
move.
come back, he
Yeah,
might. He
he'll be
might,
back.
but
He'll be back. He'll play again, especially if Jalen can keep y'all afloat like this.
we're gonna make the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. This is actually
Well,
kind of
let me
y'all
say
worst
play
case
in.
scenario.
Let me say play in.
Yeah, this is like
Whoa.
y'all's worst case scenario.
And they got San Antonio. They got San Antonio 5 more times this season. 3 of them on prime time. 3 of them at San Antonio.
That one don't move me neither though. As good as I
Not
think
without
they are,
Wemby, for sure.
yeah, as good as I
Gonna
think
be
they
back.
are,
He should be back in the next 2 weeks.
yeah. I mean, as good as I think they are, I think it's one of those things though. You have to beating Oklahoma is as much as of a mental game as it is a physical game. And I think in that, if your guys aren't truly locked in all the way, not saying that San Antonio won't be locked in all the way, but I think they're young too.
Watching that team, I think that might be the best. I think honestly, especially with them at full force with De'Aaron Fox back, I think that San Antonio might be the best option to knock off OKC. They matched them down to the whole entire board.
I think on any given night, sure.
I think they take them 7 if they see him. With the healthy Spurs versus the healthy Thunder, that's the best team I think that can compete with them down the line, far as personnel and everything paper, with how they play, everything. Like they all defensive, especially running off of Stephon Castle, like with Wemby on the backside, like it's
on paper. I'm with you. I need to see it though, and what I was trying to get at was them having the Spurs 5 more times in the regular season. Don't like it. Don't move me the same way. Who else? Minnesota, you said.
I feel as though Minnesota is one of those teams where they're expected to be a top tier team, and if you catch them on one of them nights where they decide to be the team that we expect them to be, then it's going to be a bad night.
It's any given night with them, which means also Julius Randle has to show up and want to play on that given night. You know what I'm saying? Like all of their guys have to. Yeah, all of their guys have to. Is Jaden McDaniels locked in tonight, or did somebody piss him off? Like,
I don't even know what they're doing at point guard out there. So, like,
it's DiVincenzo.
Is Mike back hurting today? Is Mike back hurting today, or is he locked in?
Yeah.
Dante knocking down his shots, or is he?
No, that's a big question too, because Dante was after that trade last year cold.
Yeah, if he 50, then it ain't worth it. If Rudy playing like COVID Rudy and not like defensive player of the year Rudy, you 50. You know what I'm saying?
Been their most consistent guy so far this season,
which is crazy, right? Like if Julie, and this don't get me wrong. Like I think Julius Randle is potentially, when he wants to be, one of the top, I would say 15 to 18 players in the NBA when he wants to be. On any given night, on a nightly basis, he can be that. We saw him do it in New York. We saw him do it early in LA, and we've seen him do it for 3 nights in a row in Minnesota. What we haven't seen from Julius Randle in a Minnesota uniform yet is a Julius Randle that you like. This is why Minnesota was okay giving up Cat. This is why. That's what I haven't seen from Julius Randle in Minnesota yet. But like you said, he's been their most consistent guy this season, and that's scary. If Julius Randle is your most consistent guy through the first 3 months of an NBA season, okay, cool, I'll give it to you because it's the first 3 months. But what you don't want is to find yourself come All-Star break looking at your team like, is Julius Randle my best player this year?
Right.
If you're not, and well, it's different if you're New York. But if you're Minnesota and you have Ant-Man on your team and you got Jaden McDaniels out there, you got Rudy Gobert out there, not to say that Rudy and Jaden are supposed to be better than Julius Randle, just that like from a consistency standpoint,
Yeah.
I expect them to come out and do their job every night.
I feel like Cat and Julius, they're two guys that you traded each other for, that you both expected to be franchise #1 guys, and they have nights where they can be that guy, but consistently and sustain it, like you said, not really
Not
betting
really.
on that. Not really
Not
betting
really.
on that.
So if I'm looking at it and I'm at All-Star break and I'm like, this is my most consistent guy right now. I don't know what I'm getting from everybody else. Then I get nervous and I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Has he turned the page? Has he turned the tide?
I feel like he has. I feel like he has when I watch him play. It's
Oh, okay. Well, if you think so, then I'm not putting my money on it. You put yours on it. Then. you put your good hard-earned money on it.
I ain't say enough to bank on it, but
Well, all right.
I'm
I'm just saying, you're gonna come out here and make claims. You know what I'm saying? Put your money on it. I ain't putting mine on it though. But no, yeah, I don't know. I think they have a real shot at breaking the record. To get back to the original point, I think they have a real shot at breaking it just because it's gonna take a lot on any given night for somebody to just get up and go play.
If they had break with less than 3, if they had break with 3 or less, they're breaking it.
Yeah, I think it also boils down to what are other teams fighting for when you play those other teams. You know what I'm saying?
My main thing, exactly. What are we
That's
doing?
when you get into a kind of a wishy-washy scenario of like, and what do we care about? Then what do we care about is a big factor in that too, because do we care to break the record? Like, I mean, we get that close, I'm sure we care, but like, if my ankle hurting, how much do I want to break the record?
I think it's going to be tough with them other teams trying to have some pride to play for that. And then, like you said, these guys being young guys, they might be hungry for that record. Like they might be.
They might be.
Yeah.
If my ankle hurt, like this, and this is what we saw out of Golden State, which was so interesting about that season. Like if you listen to them talk about that season, like they had to really make some decisions. Like on a night where your ankle might be hurting a little bit, your hamstring might be a little tight. Like, all right.
They still can dominate with a guy. Yeah. They can still dominate with a guy out though. Like Draymond said when they asked him the question about the Thunder the other night, he said so much got to go right for you to get that record. Like,
yeah,
as far as health wise,
it's got to. I don't know, but we've seen him win without J-Dub. We've seen him win without Chet. So who knows if it matters? Now, do they win with both out at the same time?
Big question.
That's where things start to get interesting at. Like, okay, February roll around and Chet gets his yearly, I gotta miss 25. Like, it's bound to happen. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to. Yeah, I ain't trying to be funny or nothing, but it's bound to happen. Chet got to get his yearly 25 in.
Got to. Body just can't.
Yeah, I mean he's what 7'1", 7'2". You know what I'm saying?
So that's the Wemby scenario. We should be looking at Wemby back-to-back defensive player of the year, arguably 3 if they give him the rookie year when they gave it to Gobert, but he doesn't qualify these last 2 seasons for DPOY, and it was a lock easily. So their body just isn't being able to keep
it's
him
hard.
in the game.
It's tough. You got tendons that are trying to keep up with 7'6", 7'2". Like you can't do that. You can't do that. Your tendons hurt when you get up on the couch. You know what I'm saying?
They
like
moving like they moving like guards. Like
that's the real
moving like he's 6 foot.
Yeah, that's the real difference right there. If they was playing if they was moving like I don't know, like Dirk or
like
something,
normal big men.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like if they was moving like Tim Duncan, okay, cool. But
reason why Jokic don't miss games, he's not doing all of this stuff to his
body. Y'all got that. Like
it's simple.
Yeah. If they moved like Jokic, they would be all right. But they
maybe show a little bit of bounce here and there. Yeah. But outside
Chet out there trying to be Shea. Like, bro, leave it to
Shea. He's very clumsy though. He falls.
Yeah,
he's on the floor. He's on the floor a lot.
He falls a lot.
I don't know. He almost reminds me of AD.
Yeah. And even AD's like biggest or skinniest, really, you should say, is still a stockier version, give or take, good or bad, than Chet. I'm not sure.
Chet got anorexic narratives when he first came into the league.
Yeah, so I don't know. Let's move though. What do y'all want? Y'all want NBA, y'all want NFL.
What you want, Ty? I'm on NFL a little bit.
Before we jump, who y'all got for rookie of the year at NBA?
I wanna go Derek. I think it's gonna be tough to give it to him. I think it's gonna be tough to give it to him. They're gonna run with a narrative. You know what the narrative is that they're trying to run with, especially if AD catch another 25 that he got to be out.
If AD miss more time, and with Kyrie coming back, I think Coop gonna win it for sure. With the way he's slowly picking it up, I think the second half of the season,
figuring it out. You figuring it out?
He's figuring it out. But if they don't do that, one I wanted to, but it's out of the equation just due to his role. I really am a high Dylan Harper guy, but his role isn't. Though he could win Rookie of the Year, like he's a guy they got coming off the bench, like a 6-man kind of guy. So I don't really see that being an option. But the biggest one over the first week of the season, when everybody thought VJ Edgecombe was about to be this.
I think he torched the Celtics on opening night.
Yeah, the first few games he averaged like 27, and everybody was like, "Yo, like the Sixers, they found their guy." Like, I think that kind of came back down to earth with everybody. So when you start to use the process of elimination, I think realistically for the whole season, I think it's gonna have to be cool. As far as the role, how much he can get usage, I think it's gonna have to be cool.
I'm not mad at it. I think how much games the Pelicans wins is gonna determine where Queen falls in the race. Because I feel like his role at the moment is probably the most sure, because the other, like when we talk about the Mavs, they're not a bad basketball team. Like Coop's gonna play, but like they have other players on that team who's more ball dominant than him. And the Pelicans right now, because there's no Murray, because Jordan Poole might play 2 games and be out the next 20, they don't got no real ball handle. So now Garrett Cole gets to like play his game, and now you see what he can do. They call him now. He's getting the nickname, Baby Jokic. He looked handling the ball, all that kind of thing. He had the first rookie 30-point triple-double the other night. Like, so I do like Queen. I'm gonna pick him right now. I think it really is gonna determine how successful the Pelicans turn out to be. But I do think this rookie class, like,
y'all want me to give y'all my Rookie of the Year final race at the end of the season. The top 3. Derek Queen gonna win the award if everything goes like how we just said. Derek Queen, Colin Knuckles is gonna come in second, and then they're gonna have Coop in third. The Hornets is terrible. He's slowly getting a bigger role. LaMelo, it's a big talks about him possibly moving on.
I was him, but
yeah, but
it will, because I don't know what his trade value truly looks like.
It's high. It's just the narrative that everybody tries to put on LaMelo about like how his game, how his play style is janky, all of it, whatever the case may be. I feel as though LaMelo is also one of those guys where you need to make him a 2. He's like, he can be a 1, but he's just a natural born scorer. So I feel like you need to make him a 2. Khan just got it, like the complete package.
I watched him and Coop when they came to Syracuse last year when they played, and you could tell like Khan's a pro. Like I was watching that game, like you can tell he was a pro last year. Like, yeah, he's gonna go and he's gonna be fun. Like his game translate.
For sure.
So I wouldn't be mad at it. I think that's a solid top 3 to like finish the Rookie of the Year race.
I think y'all are forgetting that it's all fun. It's all semantics. It's all politics. It's all.
No, that's true too.
Like a real hooper's dream, a real hoop ball knower's dream would be for Colin Nipple to win or Derek Queen to win.
Me being a Baltimore guy, I'm rocking with Derek. The way he's performing. The numbers. I feel as though the way this is going, with how unhealthy the Pelicans are, if he remains healthy, I feel as though his production going to be too big for you not to give it to him with his role, and if he produces with those guys being hurt.
it's gonna be tough because you're
Market,
you're
all
looking
that
at
kind of stuff.
you're looking at a guy who right now can go out there and this is where it gets interesting. You can win. You can be and I think the league is moving towards this too. You have to have if you're gonna be you got to be a 25 point per game guy on a bad team if you're gonna be that guy. And I don't know that it's going to be that per se. And I don't think he has to have that necessarily to win Rookie of the Year. But I think he has to, like you said, his production has to be high. But also, you're looking at a team that's literally dead last in the Western Conference. They have 4 wins right now.
Who we like most out of those 3 teams?
Out of who?
As far as like not looking at their record, like as a team, the Hornets, the Pelicans, and the Mavs.
You gotta
let's not include the Mavs because they shouldn't be in that conversation because they have Kyrie and.
Well, I think this is what you're looking at. Even if you take the Anthony Davis and the Kyrie tax off of it, and you stop looking at it because of the records. I think how ball dominant Coop is going to end up being as far as getting on that glass, you know what I'm saying? Doing everything from a small forward perspective. You got to look at it from where the league is trending as well. Derek Queen, he really runs with the rock in his hand, but that's not his full game on a night to night basis. And it just depends on how you see NBA coach using him at this stage of his career, at the rookie stage of his career. Coop really has the ball in his hands a little bit more. Con Knueppel is a off ball ish kind of player. He's running off a lot of screens. He's running a lot of DHOs, Virginia cuts, a lot of things that are like there's somebody setting him up, and depending on how you see Miles Bridges and Melo and who's actually running point for them right now, I think it's Colin Sexton. Right? Yeah. I think that's going to be tough for Con just because it's a lot of off ball action, great defense, but like that's not what the league wants. Like when you see it and you're like, all right, when you think about it and you're like, all right, when I give this guy this award, what am I posting on Instagram? I hate that it's like this, but let's just be honest. Let's just be fair about what we're going to look at. What do I post on Instagram when I give this guy this award? What are the 10 slides going to consist of?
I feel like Coop different.
Yeah, Coop. If the 10
he's
slides,
the most. He fits the narrative. He fits the narrative the most. But I also feel as though we all can agree, like, as far as when you look at an NBA pro, Derek Queen is clear cut above all of them. When you look as an NBA pro, yes,
clear cut. Yes. Clear cut above Con Knueppel right now.
His game, as far as an NBA pro and his IQ and all of that, it's just clear cut. And he's ahead of his time as far as his age. And I feel as though it's going to be a matter of if the Pelicans organization decide to allow him.
That's what I think. That's
be kind of that guy and not look at his age because he's ahead of his time. When you look at Derek Queen play, his pacing, everything, like. A rookie isn't supposed to be moving like that and playing like that, especially a 1-year college rookie. So when you look at him and then you look at Nikola Jokic, they matched up. When you look and see, and that, if I'm not mistaken, outside of his 30-point triple-double, when he played Jokic, that was his best game. So it's outside of that, when you look at him, I feel as though you see the signs, you see, okay, this is what I want. It's like you have to tend to question the NBA narrative of, are we gonna not do this because of the trend that we want the NBA to go in? Or are we going to do what we did with Nikola Jokic being an outsider or an anomaly to the way we want our game to go, 3-pointers, fast pace, and have this elite high-level big man in the league, and he's just, when he's on the court, you see he's the best guy on the floor. That's what you get with Derek Queen. Like, he's the best guy on the floor. So it's like
definitely what you get. I think you gotta look at the stat lines too. Derek Queen is averaging like 13, 4, and 5.
What is he averaging since he became a starter?
That's what I'll have to go and look at. I'll have to go and research that one. Coop is averaging 17, 5, and 6, I believe.
Let me see.
So I mean, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close, but I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna get out of the Cooper flag. Like I think it's gonna be tough for them to get away from the Cooper flag. You know what I'm saying? Situation, especially if the Mavericks make the playoffs. If the Mavericks make the playoffs, like you're gonna have to. And right now, as it stands, I mean they're on the cut. They're on the you know what I'm saying? They're on the cusp of there because I think they're number 10 right now in the West. They find a way to win a playing game.
Since he became a starter at the beginning of the month, Derek Queen, he's averaging 18 points, 7 assists, 6.5 rebounds, and a steal a game.
Yeah, see, it's gonna be tough. We're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting going down the stretch. All right, I'll let y'all pick. Ty, you had said you had that was your NBA question. B, what's your NFL? What you got?
Man, remember, I don't know if you remember, but we were supposed to have talked about the Packers game. We were supposed to have talked about the Packers game a while ago, and you said we were gonna wait a little while.
Definitely, and I definitely missed it, right? I definitely missed it.
But I was just asking everybody. So we were hearing those same things before we saw the Lions the second game. You know, like I don't see that happening again. The Lions and Detroit, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And this Bears team that that the public's been so high on, with them having these close games, even though I told you, some important facts about them with how they were, even though they were the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
With us going in, with us beating them the other day, with how the game went, how does that make you all feel about Green Bay with the tough games that we played? And a follow-up question to that is, with the way you feel about Green Bay, is it a bigger thing that Green Bay is just that good, or are y'all more so convinced that the team that they're playing that's supposed to be high-level teams just isn't showing up to the standard y'all expected them to be at?
Well, two things. One, I do believe it's tough to beat a good team twice. But y'all low-key routed the Lions the first time y'all played them too. Like I think everybody kind of forgot that part too. Like y'all low-key routed them
both times, and you expected a different result the second game.
And not to mention, I'll say this, and it's kind of a sidebar to it anyway. But Amon-Ra did get hurt very early in that game. I don't know if that changes the outcome of the game at all. I don't think so, the way that y'all routed them anyway, but I will mention that. Now, here's what I didn't like. I don't know that Chicago ends up winning that game anyway, even if Caleb makes a better play on that last play. But that was a much closer game than I would have liked it to have been down the stretch.
It was closer than I think. I think when people ask me when you watch the game, I think the game wasn't as close as the scoreboard said.
I don't think it was. I think that's the easy thing to say, except for me. This was, I think when I was watching that game, I think a lot of times I was very close to turning off the game. And every time I wanted to turn it off, Caleb kind of made a play or two that was like, just give me a shot. Just give me a chance.
Y'all might not agree with this. That Bears-Packers game was the most dominating 7-point win I've ever seen.
I can kind of see where you're coming from, except I don't like that. Here's what I don't like. When you have to play a team twice, I don't like when a team seems to figure something out down the stretch. That's what I'll say. And down the stretch, I think that the Bears kind of figured out a way to not beat y'all, but play. I
was about to say put up points to hang. Yes, the defense didn't figure out anything from quarter 1 to quarter 4. So well, I mean, that's what it was like.
That's okay, but what we do know about this team is that the offense can score at times. And sometimes when you're at home and you're fighting, that's what you need. listen, y'all do have to play them again, and I did say this. I said when I chose the game that week, I said, where are y'all playing? And you said we're at Lambeau. And I said, if y'all were at Soldier, I might take the Bears. I don't know how confident I am in that, but I will keep it the same. I do think that when y'all play at Soldier, I will take
that. You said that about Detroit too.
Did I?
You said when they go back to Detroit, it's hard to beat a team twice. I don't think y'all get them in Detroit.
I think I was being a hater a little bit. I definitely was probably being a hater a little bit. This is what I'm saying though. Like that was probably a bad pick considering y'all have routed them the first time. Right. I know that you feel as though that y'all were very dominant, and I feel that y'all were very dominant in that game. But I also, like I said, I feel like that offense figured out something down the stretch.
I agree, definitely.
And sometimes that's all a team needs. This isn't any given Sunday league. I do think that they are. I do think that they are a good team, the Bears. Does that mean that they'll make a run or that they have a real shot?
I said I don't have the Bears making playoffs. I said this in week 9. But
okay.
But question I had to you is, remember a few weeks ago when you asked me, what do I feel as though the problem is with my offense and whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
So when you look at all of the games that we've lost, there were games where we scored unders. We scored 13 or less, and defense played lights out. So when the question you asked me when I had responded about Matt LaFleur, I don't know if people have been paying attention, but ever since that Eagles week, Matt LaFleur has been leaving the ball in Jordan Love's hands a lot more. And he's been getting the results that you expect to get when you lean on a franchise guy. And I feel as though that's why I say Matt LaFleur was the problem. Great coach, arguably one of the best coaches in the league. His play calling tends to be a problem. The only problem is that it tends to be a problem due to the situations that he calls them in. He has a great bag as a play caller. It's the simple fact of taking the ball out of your franchise quarterback's hands in times where you need him to go get a first down, go get a touchdown, a conversion, whatever the case may be. So I feel as though I'm pretty sure y'all are not still wondering about the Packers defense. I'm pretty sure everybody should be sold on the defense at this point of them being a top defense. So that being said, with you seeing them being a top defense and then seeing what the offense looks like when Matt LaFleur decides to say, hey, I have Jordan Love, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We gave him $250 million. Let's open the playbook up and leave it open the entire game. When you see him leave it open the entire game, you get good results. So I feel as though I always ask people, when you see that you're leaving the playbook open to your quarterback and you're getting good results, 20, 21 plus points, while having arguably, if not the best defense in the league, a top 3 defense in the league, what do you expect to get from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that y'all are. I don't think the doubt was ever that y'all could be a playoff team. I think that the question was always, will your offense rise to the occasion of your defense? When that happens, I think that y'all are a pretty dominant team. This is, I think, if we go back to the Chicago conversation though, if you don't put up 28 points, do you win that game? Not sure, right?
I feel as though those are always situations where, as though, like you said, you watched the whole game. When you, as a football guy, all sports included, but football mainly, the biggest thing that they always preach is complementary football.
Yeah.
So that being said, when we watched that game, the Bears had one of the worst first halves they have ever had with Caleb Williams being under the helm for them at quarterback yet. So I feel as though with playing complementary football,
which is why I think that the conversation is a little more nuanced than it being the most dominant 28-21 7-point win ever. Because if you can say that you believe Caleb Williams played one of the worst first halves of football that you've seen him play, and then and then he comes back to life and comes back to consciousness in the second half, and he puts up 21 to only lose by 7 with a chance to tie it or go
That's
ahead.
where the complimentary. That's where the complimentary. That's where the biggest complimentary thing comes to me, because your defense has put you in a. I feel as though your defense put you in a big enough position where when they were making him struggle, your offense was supposed to put up points. And in the second half, due to your quarterback, you're going against being such a high level quarterback. You shouldn't be expected to stop him for 4 quarters. So what you stopping him for 2 quarters, your defense may bend, break a few times in the second half, but your offense should have done enough in the first half to sustain it. And then in the second half, at that point, manage the game to not let it slip. That's how I feel as though it is with the complimentary football aspect of it.
This is where the question arises, because he had a chance to tie or go ahead at the end. And more than y'all stopped him from doing that, he stopped himself from doing that. If he obviously DJ wasn't quite as wide open as people like to make it seem.
I've been hating that. I've been hating that all week. How people have been saying DJ was open.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But also, it's 4th and 1. Is that the best call either? Like, I don't know that that's the best call. Now, I don't know that they should have ran the ball, but I'm not.
I feel like it was Ben Johnson being Ben Johnson due to the fact that they ran all over a second half due to fatigue. They were managing the clock the entire second half, and they were getting 4 or 5 yards. And I feel as though it was him expecting it. We were expecting a run, so he was like, "We're gonna run the same play," and that's why I said, "Shout out Keyshawn Nixon for that play." They ran that same play versus the Eagles the week before, and film study is the reason why he bailed on his assignment and went to go make that play, because one of our other linebackers got greedy and got his eyes in the backfield and just let Colston Loveland just run on out.
It's kind of what I'm saying. So this is where I'm saying, like, yo, I think that y'all have the potential to be a really good team. Also, there are times where y'all beat yourselves, or other teams decide to show up when they're playing y'all. Y'all are one of the best teams, and what that means is y'all are going to get every team's best shot down the stretch and playoffs too. And Caleb Williams took a shot and he missed. Oh well. But that game, I feel, is closer than where you say the most dominant 7-point win that you could have seen.
I will say I do expect it to be tougher in Soldier. I don't expect Caleb to come in and play. I'm expecting more of what I saw in the second half than I saw in the first half. I expect him to play a more complete game just due to adjusting. I think that's just football, whether your defense is top tier or not. I feel as though it's going to make it a lot harder. And I think it's going to be it's going to make you question more the test of how good our offense is, because our defense, I think, is going to allow points in Soldier. And I feel as though it's going to question how good is the offense to go in a shootout and put up points with them.
Yeah. All right. Ty.
I'm going to say, I don't really think, I feel like at this point, everybody knows y'all a good football team. I think our questions comes more along the postseason than it's really about the regular season with y'all. I feel like y'all playing a tough division. So we know the Lions been there, you know what I'm saying? Y'all been good. The Bears been in hell, but with Ben Johnson now, you can kind of see them improving. So it's y'all playing a tough division. So we know those games, and we all know division games are tricky. A team could be 3 and whatever, and you play the division game, that record don't matter. I think y'all showed that y'all can take people's best punches, and in the second half, Chicago was punching at y'all, but y'all took the punches and y'all still came out on top. And I think that's what, at this point, that's what we want to know. Can y'all, even if y'all start off great and y'all might slow down a little bit, can y'all still withhold and sustain the success y'all was having to make sure y'all come out on top? And y'all did. Right. I don't think the Bears just don't beat the Packers right now. They couldn't beat them when Aaron was there. Weren't really beating them when Brett Favre was there. Now Jordan Love and took the helms, and they still ain't beat them. So that's problem number one. Also, I think y'all have something to play for, because Ben Johnson, when he got hired, it was he's gonna love beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Well, now you're talking like that. You got, you know what I'm saying? You got to come out ready to play. The Bears got to come out ready to play. And so do the Packers. You don't want your enemy to be oh, we just walked in y'all building and took y'all, you know what I'm saying? Walk in your trap, shake your trap over. whatever. He talking big stuff. Now it's like we got to make sure we come on and play our best football. At times I did, at times I didn't. But a good team, you can have a drive here, drive there, maybe a quarter, and like still shake back and do what you're supposed to do. I think the Packers did that. Like I said, I think moving forward, at least for me, my question is not about whether or not y'all can compete with the good teams or beat the good teams. I feel like we know you can. Can we make sure y'all get consistent weeks of the same kind of Packers football that'll lead y'all to where y'all trying to go? Like, y'all didn't trade for Micah to be losing in the division around. My shit just froze.
It stayed freezing. You changed the background. I ain't even pay attention. Go in a different room.
Who, me?
Oh,
Yeah.
Nah, I'm in the same room. I just turned around.
Tweaking. Fix his junk for me, Kobe. I'm over here going through the. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, bro was over there wild and messing up the setup and
All
stuff.
right.
Go ahead. You
All
good.
right, but what I was saying, I think my biggest question for y'all: can y'all put on consecutive weeks of good football when it's one and done? Like when it's playoff time, can y'all make sure y'all playing our highest level of football? Because, like you say, y'all defense not the issue. It's sometimes your offense. Like we can't, like when y'all played the Browns earlier this year, like we can't see that Packers team. We want to see the Packers teams against the Lions. We want to see the Packers team. That's what the Packers teams we want to see. Can we make sure we're getting that consistently? I think that's y'all biggest question.
I feel as though I'm happy for it.
If y'all can figure that out, bro, at this year especially, y'all could be playing in the Super Bowl. Like this is the year for y'all to figure it out and get to the promised land. There's no like real. We looking around like, man, we know we got to go through them. I feel like y'all are the team. People like. We're probably gonna have to go through them if we're trying to get to Super Bowl this year. So I feel like they're in a great spot. If LaFleur and Jordan Love, if they can mesh like they're supposed to and how everybody thought they would, I feel like the sky's the limit for y'all. So we're gonna see.
I feel like it's hard. It's only time will tell. Like so far this season, we see how all of the games went. I feel as though we've played our best versus all the top tier teams. Like I feel like though we play at our best when we see the better teams. So I feel as though if it goes that way, playoffs should be how I'm expecting. Whereas though when we see the top teams, we show up because we got Panthers and Browns losses, like, and everybody was questioning us after the Panthers lost until they saw the Rams lose to them. So it's like, are the Panthers really a bad team?
At this point, they're looking like they might make the playoffs.
They win these next 2 weeks, they automatically in.
Yeah. Anyways.
Talking about Jayden Reed?
No, she talking to you, brother man.
Oh, about my Jayden.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I was under the assumption that my boy was 100% healthy. Like he was gonna go out there, no brace, no none. That's wishful thinking. Like, come on, bro. He dislocated his elbow 5 weeks ago. Like, he's not gonna be 100% healthy. I thought he was going to be at least 95% healthy, and that's why they were going to play him. They would have told me he was going to be out there with a brace and all that other stuff. I was like, all right, bro, go home. Like, go home.
Yeah. Y'all ain't playing for nothing. Y'all can't have him hurt again.
Go home, bro. What are we doing? But I feel like his play, or at least when he's on the field, you can see he's not himself. Like, I don't think the confidence is there. I think the injury toll is catching up with him. Like, we played the Vikings. It was a tough game because, like, Brian Flores, I ain't gonna lie, he had Cliff and Hill all game. After that first drive, all game, he had Cliff. They couldn't do nothing. They had no answers for the blitzes. They had no answers for the simulated coverages, showing pressure, dropping everybody out. They had no answers for anything. And then Jayden, I think his biggest, or at least my biggest critique with Jayden is I think he tucks and runs too fast sometimes because he has the ability to do it. Like, I think in that Vikings game, had he wanted, like, sometimes I feel like Lamar Jackson is a great example of where I want Jayden games to get because, like, I feel like earlier in Lamar's career, he might have took off. Now he dances around in the pocket, looking downfield. I don't think Jaden does enough of that. I feel like there were opportunities in the Vikings game for him to like, okay, let's chill a little bit, see what we can get. Instead, he was trying to take off and run. His contact rate, way too high. Way too high. And
he
got
had that problem since he was in college. That's just
I
a
know,
mental
but
thing.
it's like at this point, I'm not mad at him running. I'm mad about when he decides to run. I feel like, and then I also don't think we run enough design runs for him. Like when we giving Jaden the ball, it's a lot of quarterback reads, it's a lot of RPOs. You feel me? We don't never really like set him up like, man, we about to run quarterback power. We're gonna put everybody, he running the ball. Let's protect him the best he can. He does a lot of off-schedule running, and I think that's his biggest problem with staying healthy. Like, we don't design runs for him. He designs them for himself, and that gets him to tricky waters. But at this point, hindsight, they shouldn't have played him, and I don't think he should play again this year. Like, now that he's missing the Giants game, I feel like shut him down. There's no point, bro. Especially, I was with the whole he need reps, but like if he couldn't play against if he played against the Seahawks and they're advising him not to play this week, that means he probably shouldn't have played last week. So just sit him down. We don't gain nothing for him playing now. Sit him down, bro. This season lost cause. But I will say, I think another reason they wanted him to play because they need to win, or Quinn needs to win a game. Another game. It's not even about draft position. It's more about his job. Losing 12 straight for anybody is terrible. 12 straight games, no matter injuries, quarterback situation, whatever, losing 12 straight games, it can cost you your job. So we're gonna see, but
believe it or not, Cole,
yeah.
Cole Ty, I got a conspiracy theory I've always had since I've like got into football. As a quarterback, I feel as though when you have a season like Jaden Daniels had his rookie season, and we all, not Ty, but we all said like that was a lucky season. When you have a season like that, it's due to nobody in the NFL knows what they're getting. They've never seen you before. I feel as though your second season as a quarterback is the biggest make or break far as the potential you see. I'm not meaning far as winning games, but what you're going to get for the future. Because now all defensive coordinators and defenses have had an entire offseason to scheme and game plan for you to know what they're going to get next season. So that way, okay, this is what we're going to do. Now we know what we're getting. So if you come out and play at a high level still, now that's the reason why we have certain guys like, oh yeah, they're going to be around for a while. That's normally what you're going to get. Like CJ Stroud. I remember people were having conversations trying to put him in the top 10 after his rookie season. And sure enough, he went and had that sophomore slump. This season, he also has had a bad year before he got injured with a concussion. Now, maybe that was a break he needed because he is looking somewhat decent since he's been back. But that's always been one of the biggest questions I have for quarterbacks is your second season, you got to show what you're really made of. Like, we got the game plan for you now. Now what you going to do? Like, and when you don't rise to that occasion, I feel as though a lot of questions come around like, okay, that rookie season, was that really you? Or was that just...
For sure. I will say this too, at least in Jaden Daniels' situation, he was hurt early in the year and like he never played. It's complicated for JD at least. I'm not saying his rookie season is him per se. Like we all understand, like they overachieved last year. And like a lot of that had to do with Jaden Daniels being there, and a lot of had it doing with a new coach, new owner. It was a lot of new stuff going on. So like it was like kind of like a clean slate for them last year. This year, it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? You got to build off what you did, but the schedule's harder, all that kind of things. And like the biggest thing is always health. He's been in and out the lineup this year. I can't really judge him to know what he's going to get. Like we know if the first year was last year. I'm like, this year is by no means like a great year for him. Like earlier this year when he was playing, I was like, he wasn't having a sophomore slump, but I can't really say that now. Like the last few times he stepped on the field, I can tell there's like a regression going on. So, and I gotta chalk that up, like him being injured, him not having his weapons, like Terry missing a good portion of the year has had an effect on the offense. It's a lot. So I'm gonna chalk this year up for the team itself, like injuries, defense is terrible. Terrible is probably the nicest statement I can get him at this point. We're gonna find out, but
So can I ask both of y'all, due to the fact of how we see Jaden Daniels play being so far, and I've got a lot of hate for this plenty of times where I said I compared Jaden Daniels to Lamar, and I got a lot of hate for it. So do y'all think? Because I think so. Do y'all feel as though the blueprint for stopping both of them is the same? I believe it's the same due to the fact of when you look at how Lamar has elevated, it may not be the same at the moment because when you look at Lamar, he's elevated into a true elite quarterback. Like he always had the narrative of he runs, he can't throw. He started to stay in the pocket a little bit longer because as a quarterback, you need to at times. Jaden Daniels is in the beginner stage how Lamar was, like you said, Ty, tucking very early. Where though he should be staying to keep his eyes on the field a little bit more. He's tucking a little bit too early. And when I watch both of them play, when I tend to see them both have their biggest issues is when they normally get 4-man front zone coverage with 1 to 2 QB spies. And when you send those QB spies at them, then they kind of get in a tricky little state.
I don't disagree with that. I will also say I think receiver personnel plays a lot into that as well, especially when they want to rush for, drop everybody else, put a spy. Because at that point, you need high IQ wide receivers, and they need to be able to correct separation. Also, I don't know how many. Like when I look at the Ravens, I would say Zay Flowers at this point is probably the best separation receiver. I don't think the rest of them truly create separation on that team. Like DeAndre Hopkins,
I would say Rashad Bateman, their most separation guy.
You say what?
I would say Rashad Bateman, their most separation guy. It's just he's not consistent.
I'm not huge on Bateman. Like I would have told you this 2-3 years ago. Like I'm not. They've invested in Bateman being their number one, and I think that's been a mistake, in my opinion. I think that's been a mistake for them. I think Zay is cool, but they still need a true X receiver. And I don't think Bateman is going to get them where they need them to get. I feel like they want Lamar to elevate his receivers. And I get that from a standpoint being that he's MVP, all this kind of stuff. But you also got to help your quarterback out. And I don't think they do enough of that in Baltimore. He needs somebody. And we had this conversation a few weeks ago about the system and if anybody really wants to go play wide receiver in Baltimore.
Exactly.
So I do understand that, but I feel like they have to try, right? Even sometimes you got to get somebody against their will, trade for them. They under contract. What they going to do?
Well, I'll tell you. One thing I will tell you is different far as I feel as though it was a consequence that you have to deal with. You wanted to go get you wanted to go get Derrick Henry. You wanted to go get Derrick Henry to make Lamar more deadly with his legs because you can't just focus on Lamar. I feel as though that's the consequence of wanting Derrick Henry to make Lamar more dangerous with his legs instead of going to go get an higher grade receiver. You wanted to go get Derrick Henry to elevate your run game. So I feel as though if they didn't go get Derrick Henry, they could have went and got a receiver to help the offense, but they wanted to go with Henry. So I feel as though that's just the repercussions of choosing the run game over the pass game.
It's possible. You about to say something, Kobe? I seen you
I was just gonna say, I think the way to stop them is similar. But I think that as early as Jaden Daniels is in his career, I think he's at a much different place than Lamar was. I think Lamar was a much more elite runner of the football than Jaden Daniels is at this point.
For sure.
But I also think that Jaden Daniels is probably a much more elite thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson was at this point. So I think it's a little different. I think Jaden Daniels, I don't want to say is you talk about him tucking and running too early. I don't think he's scared, but I don't think his offensive line is quite where you wanted them to be. You went and got Laramie Tunsil, but I don't know that Biotish is exactly who you wanted him to be up to this point. I don't know that Chris Paul is exactly where you wanted him to be up to this point. And then you got Connerly over there playing right tackle right now, I believe, who I believe will be a really good player, but I think he's not quite a really good player yet. So obviously this year he ran a lot more than you quite expected or wanted him to, but also I think he had to get out a lot earlier than you wanted him to as well. I think resources play a big factor, but I think when you have a guy in the tight end that the Commanders have, I think that he's one of the smartest tight ends in the league at the moment. Obviously, he won't be playing. Todd, what is the actual injury?
They say towards ACL, but
yeah, he might be.
I think it's a little bit more structural damage than just that ACL.
That was something I wanted to ask you too about. He was looking.
I
was
don't know
great.
how many people actually seen the video of Ertz getting hit, but
he might be.
He was looking great. I did want to ask you that time. Will he be done at this point,
bro?
Yeah, he might. He might be done.
Tough,
and even if he doesn't believe he's done, I don't think that it's
he's not gonna be the same, bro.
Yeah, he's not gonna be the same.
He already losing a step. He's gonna lose 3-4 with that ACL injury.
Hall of Famer for sure. I think it's time to.
Yeah, it might be time to hang it up. Nonetheless, like Todd said, injury plays a big part of it. I think Jayden Daniels will be fine. Like you said, though, B. I said it, and I caught a lot of heat for it when they was calling him a top 10. I said, chill, pump the brakes. But they didn't. Oh well. Not my problem.
The comparisons last year, we all heard them. The way everybody talking about Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams was nasty.
Yeah, it was nasty, but I still think that Jayden Daniels has the potential to be a really good player in this league. I just think that they just needed to pump the brakes. Last question from both of y'all. Go ahead. Who got one?
Go ahead, Zach.
Oh,
I wanted to ask something.
Let's talk about a catch in the NFL. I don't know how many of you watched the Falcons and the Bucks game and saw Kyle Pitts touchdown.
He's disgusting. So, you talking about Kyle Pitts touchdown? Oh, I thought you was talking about. I thought he was about to talk about the Bijan one.
You talk about the game too, because the Bucks, boy. Listen, but I just want to talk about, because we just watched last week. They said Isaiah Likely didn't catch the touchdown, right? He caught the ball, extended it, took 2 steps, got pushed out, said no touchdown.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts last night catches the ball, bobbles it, doesn't get full possession until he reaches the ground outside of the end zone, touchdown. I just want to know who makes the decisions about catches. We can always go back to Daz caught it. Like, there's been numerous occasions over the years where we just don't get a definitive answer about what's a catch and what's not a catch. And it seems like the goalpost moves every year. And it's just, I feel like that's one of my biggest critiques about the NFL and the refs, because I feel like that's something I truly think they could get down, and it's like they don't want to. But the game itself, blowing a 2-touchdown lead in a quarter to a Kirk Cousins-led football team and the great year of 2025 is insane. Not only that, you had them boys 3rd and 28. 3rd and 28, and they picked up a first down and ultimately won the football game. The Bucks are cooked, bro. The Bucks are cooked. We got up here and was talking about they could possibly still make the playoffs. That Falcons game was a real big game. I don't see how they get in there now.
Just need some Panthers help. They play them so they can help themselves.
That is true. They can help themselves, but I think that's a tough ask at this point. But
you want to go Cole on the catch?
No, go ahead. Oh no, yeah, it's easy. His right hip touch. He had control in his right hip touch. It's easy. It's real simple. So I'm piggybacking what Cope said. The rules. I just had a debate with one of my friends today. In his right hip.
I just had a debate with one of my friends today about the catches and the fumble also, but that I feel as though everybody don't pay attention like as closely as you should. They made it clear as day when you say the likely catch. When people say third step, I don't think people understand that people aren't talking about taking a physical third step with the ball. I think people don't understand when they say third step, that means a football move and not a third step. So that's one of those things with that. And then the other thing is with the Kyle Pitts situation, like people have to understand it's always been that way for football. Any body part, a shin, a thigh, your butt, all that count as two hands. All that count as 2 feet. So when he bobbles the ball and he's falling to the ground, and then he brings the ball in as his butt is hitting the ground, that's a catch because that counts as 2 feet at the moment he has possession, and he then goes out of bounds. That counts as a touchdown at that point. Now, the likely situation with them hand fighting for the ball, and he takes 2 steps. As he takes 2 steps, the ball is beginning to come out before he gets to make a football move. And I think people would be ignoring the fact of that because people don't understand the full concept of it, saying he was in the end zone. It's not like he was somewhere else. The same thing still applies. Whether you're in the end zone or you're anywhere else. It's just people would be thinking because he's in the end zone, once he catch it, 2 steps, automatic touchdown, no matter what happens. And I'm just not one of the firm believers in that.
Yeah, I think that one was pretty simple. B, what you got? Close out.
College football, man. This week coming up, we know we got Oregon, James Madison. We talked a little bit about, we got something similar previous weeks, but my question is, with Oregon playing James Madison in Eugene, right? Not even just this game. Let's say all of those teams that they let in, Tulane, all those schools, if we get bad football from a fan standpoint of seeing a good football game, do we believe that this is going to make the committee shift
Can't do it.
into
Not
maybe like slowly, or like maybe it may take 2 years or 3 years, but do you feel as though not making the shift publicly, but do you think that the committee is going to begin the process of changing their approach to the college football playoffs with seeing P5 teams that aren't like really some to none pretty much far as competing with teams like Oregon and whatnot?
I think
Do we believe they're going to do that?
I think what this year may change is I don't care what you got to do, but you're not putting 2 G4 teams in like that. You where they went wrong this year is Tulane making it okay, cool, but because Duke won the ACC championship, with 5 losses, you weren't putting them in. You had to go with the next best thing, I guess, and so you chose JMU. I think what this year will change isn't necessarily whether they'll have group of 5 playoffs or stop putting group of 5 teams in. I think it'll make changes as far as, yeah, let's never put in 2 group of 5 teams again. Also, I think what it'll spark a conversation around is the way that we have the way that we set conference championships. The fact that you could be Duke with 5 losses and still be playing an ACC championship is utterly disgusting. And I think what most people don't know is that every conference has their own rules. Yeah, as far as what constitutes a championship eligible team. Every conference has different rules as far as how you run a tiebreaker for who's eligible for their championship game. Therefore, I think what the CFP and what the NCAA will start to look at is how the hell do you end up with Duke, who's 8-5 in an ACC championship game? And so I think you'll get more changes as far as that goes before you get more changes as far as the CFP goes.
I think they need to change that heavily. I think that the conference record only should apply when y'all have the same record. I feel as though when you have a better overall record, I feel as though the conference shouldn't be the thing that determines who gets the championship appearance.
Like I said, every conference has different rules. So I think that rather than the CFP changing or expecting a CFP change, what you should start to expect is maybe more alignment throughout the conferences as far as what constitutes a championship team. Because I think where the CFP will take great problem after this season is like, yo, you know what type of effed up position you put me in that I had to make a real decision because of your bad conference rules. As far as I had UVA and Duke playing in your conference championship, but I had Miami fighting for their life. I had Miami fighting for their life as far as being a
playoff team.
Yeah, a playoff team. Like, that doesn't make sense that they can be fighting for their life in the CFP and also not eligible for conference championship game with only 2 losses. I think that's nastier, and I think that's where you'll see more change the closer down the road than the CFP change.
Do you think the CFP is still relatively new in the grand scheme of like college football?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll ever consider separating the two, like a Power 4 playoff and a group of 5 playoff? Like, do you ever think it will cross their minds to separate the two? Not saying they will, and I'm not saying they should, but you know how people talk. Like, we just talking about like Tulane and James Madison probably shouldn't both be in the playoffs, but how the rules are set up and all the stuff they're doing, both of them make it. And if they both get blown out, and it's a good chance that they both will, do we start having a conversation that maybe we're going to separate them? Like, yeah, maybe a Cinderella might come through the power of the group of 5 every 5-10 years, but what does that really do? What does that really do us in a grand scheme? Or we can just put them in their own playoff bracket, put their own Power 4s in their own playoff bracket, and keep it pushing.
Yeah, I think it's I don't think it's as hard to do as people are making it seem. I think people are making it seem like there's just not enough interest or money in a group of 5 playoff format. I just don't think that's the case. I think that people would if you can have FCS like ball being played, if you can have FCS playoffs, right? As far as like, obviously we know South Dakota State is the reigning, you know what I'm saying, whatever powerhouse over there. If you can have that, I'm sure that you can build interest enough to have Tulane and James Madison and North Texas, and giving them, you know what I'm saying, their own type of playoff. Like, you know, Navy last year, like nobody wanted to see them play in a CFP, but if they got to play in a playoff run with the Tulanes and the North Texases and the JMUs of the world, I think that would have generated great interest, right? So I think it's possible. I think it's just going to become one of those things that they're going to have to want to do. But also, I don't know. Right now, as it stands, I don't know if you get the conferences to realign what constitutes a conference championship. I don't know that you'll need it per se, because then you only have that one G5 team. And as much as we all hate it, it's kind of like, it is what it is. Like, how much does one G5 team really bother us? Now, if you keep having years like the one we just had, where you end up with 2 G5 teams in, then I think we have to start having some conversations. But one, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's that time. Man.
Forgot the last thing from last week.
Appreciate
you remember.
Yep, appreciate you. Because we actually do have a really good slate. First of all, we only have one college football game this week. Army Navy game. Who y'all got?
Navy.
Going with Navy, man.
Army, Brett. Give me the Army.
You're disgusting.
I am. Cleveland at Chicago. Who y'all got?
Give me Chicago. Cleveland at Chicago. Yeah, give me Chicago.
Go ahead, B. I don't care.
Come on, man.
I don't care if they lose by 40. I'm taking them every game for the rest of the season. I don't care who they. I don't care who they play. I don't care who they. You know what I mean? Like it don't even matter to me. They could be playing
defense top tier, messing with anybody. You got Shadur out there who could put up yards and everything. They got a chance versus everybody the rest of the season.
As long as they're not playing the Cowboys, I'm going like this every week. I don't care. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Ty.
Give me Baltimore because they need this game this week if they want to make the playoffs. So give me Baltimore.
B.
Give me Joey B. Baltimore the same as the Chiefs for me. Every week we say they need a game for the playoffs. It's not happening this year. We just gotta accept it is what it is.
Give me Baltimore over a disgruntled Joey Burrow who's
contemplating retirement.
Hey,
all right. Y'all not gonna keep doing that with my favorite quarterback. You're not gonna keep on trying to play Joey B like this.
It's not even here in the press conference.
Yeah, he was up there talking crazy.
I don't know about a game no more. Like, what are we talking about?
They make it lose for the game. We keep getting hurt.
Frankly, the most hilarious part about it was
he ain't lying about that, bro.
Yeah, he do. The most hilarious part about it was Jamar getting up there today and being like, bro, I thought that was AI. That was real. Like, all right, bro. Like, you gotta lock in, brother. Los Angeles at Kansas City, the Chargers at Kansas City. My fault.
In good faith, give me the Chargers, bro. I can't pick the Chiefs until they show me some. Give me the Chargers. But like, it feels crazy to pick against 15, but give me the Chargers.
B.
I'm not surprised if the Chiefs win, but I'm no longer picking the Chiefs. They showed me enough. I'm taking the Chargers.
I'm going Chiefs over an emotionally and physically tired Chargers team. That game on Monday night took a lot out of them. Give me the Chiefs. Buffalo at New England. B.
I'm going with Buffalo this week. I feel as though Josh Allen, he's not going for none of that this week. The Patriots talk is just skyrocketed off of one season, and they have had the worst schedule in football. People are trying to crown the Patriots over the Bills. Josh not having it this week. He going in there, he getting a win.
So
the Patriots at home. I want to pick Josh Allen. I generally do. I want to pick them in the Bills. Matter of fact, I lie. I'm picking Josh Allen this week because him and his girl just dropped that they finna have a baby and stuff like that. Josh finna out there. He finna have his best game of his life. All right, let's go Bills this week.
Josh might be different this season than the year.
Give me Josh because I'm tired of Ryan.
You said what?
Give me Josh because I'm tired of Ryan. Yeah.
That's another very valid.
Give me Washington at New York, Ty.
Which New York?
Giants.
The Giants, yeah.
In good faith, bro, I can't pick against my team, even though they're probably gonna lose, but like I can't pick against them, so I'm gonna pick the Commanders.
Keep it real. I'm going with the Giants. Easy win.
Give me Dart. Vegas at Philly. B.
Philly by a lot.
Ty.
Yeah, give me Philly.
I've been waiting on that Geno performance. It still ain't came. I
They're not-
normally see one every year. It ain't came.
He not playing this week neither. Give me Philly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it worse.
Jets at Jacksonville. B.
Give me. Oh,
I'm going with Jacksonville. My guy Trevor Lawrence finally coming into his own. Everybody, I got so much hate for this Trevor Lawrence talk I've been saying since he came in the league. My man Trevor Lawrence, he's starting to show who he really is, and I'm loving to see it. The defense is all there. It's just a great team as a whole this season, and I'm loving everything about it. Give me the Jags.
Yeah, you're done. Ty.
yeah. Give me the Jags.
Jags. Arizona at Houston. Give me Houston. B.
Houston.
Yeah, I'm rolling with them Texas boys.
All right. Give me Houston. Detroit at the Rams. B.
4 o'clock game.
Ty. Yeah, Ty. 4 o'clock.
Give me the Rams.
4:25 actually. Yeah.
Give me the Rams.
Damn, I completely missed one. B, who you got?
No, I'm going Rams. I can't see. I don't want to see nobody. Lions. I don't want to see none of them in any games. No.
All right. Yeah, give me the Rams. Green Bay at Denver. B. Yeah.
You see that back there? You see that back there?
Ty.
Give me Green Bay.
Ty on my good side going into the Sunday. I like that.
Give me Green Bay.
There you go.
Carolina at New Orleans.
I'm going with Carolina. I think Bryce keep it going.
Ty.
I'm gonna go Carolina off the simple fact that the Bucks lost Thursday, and I feel like Carolina knows essentially if they win this game and they split between the Bucks, they'll make the playoffs.
For that exact reason, give me Tyler Show.
You feel like they ain't going to do it for that exact reason.
Yeah, like when you know,
Too
yeah,
much, too much. They ain't been here before. Too much.
too much pressure. Like, oh, we got a chance this week, fellas. Like, we got a chance to do something.
Is JC playing?
I don't know. When your coach start giving you them speeches in practice, look, fellas, we got a chance this week. We got a chance to clinch this week. So that's when stuff start going bad for you. Tennessee at San Francisco.
Give me San Fran.
All right, bet.
Y'all might not like y'all not gonna like me for this. Y'all gonna call me nasty. I'm going Cam over San Fran this week.
Give me San Fran. Indianapolis at Seattle.
Seattle easy.
Yeah, give me Seattle. Don't matter who the coach turn up.
I feel like they about to send Philip into retirement early again.
Yeah, give me Seattle. Minnesota at Dallas.
Me Dallas. Don't let the hater in you talk.
It's less about. Give me Dallas. Give me Dallas.
Bryce
There you go.
Get for real. Get serious. I'm like, Minnesota or no, not Minnesota. Miami at Pittsburgh.
Give me Pitt.
Give me Miami.
Not mad at it. TJ might not play. TJ and DK might not play actually.
Against my better will, give me Pittsburgh only because I don't trust Tua in December up north. I don't care who plays. I don't trust Tua in December up north. It's gonna be too cold for him. That'll be it, fellas. That was thank you, B, actually, for that. I was out of here. I was out of here. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes on a good Friday night, man. 10:25 p.m. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us, man. It's GRG. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their mama, all that good stuff. Lock in, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back, man. We're gonna get the socials back jumping. Think we were slow this week on the socials, but we'll be back.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
We got some content dropping soon, man. Stay tuned.
If you were late to the show, it's some good content at the beginning. We had a special guest, man. Shout out my guy Mike for pulling up on us. Mike. Helped me and Ty a good deal when we was up the world. Yeah, man. Y'all got anything? We good? Cool. Let's do it. We out of here.